Chaitanya Gurudev. Okay, so that said, we're going to start the reading from, we'll do it this morning, but so it's how Pradyam, you'll have to do a lot of reading today as well, probably, if you can do it.
Everyone has to read this.
Because I can't do it all day. I did it 1 year.
You did it all day.
Yes, but that was then. I was younger, fitter and stronger then, you know. and I fasted all day as well. I'm getting old now.
13 hours plus.
Yeah.
In night.
All right. Haribu. Thank you. We're live now. Okay. Pancha kalpatarubhascha kripasindhaveva patidam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namah. Amangyanam tiramandhyasya gyanam gana chalakaya chakshanamilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Jai Srila Bhakti Nimra Acharya Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Okay, so we're reading this morning from chapter 5 of Antya Leela, volume 2, and it's the chapter is entitled How Pradyumna Mishra Received Instructions from Ramananda Roy. Okay, this is quite high. So the following summary of the 5th chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Prabhava Bhashya. Pradyumna Mishra, a resident of Srihata, came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to hear from him about Lord Krishna and his pastimes. The Lord, however, sent him to Srila Ramananda Roy. Srila Ramananda Roy was training the Deva Dasi dancing girls in the temple. When Pradyumna Mishra heard about this, he returned to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord, however, elaborately described the character of Srila Ramananda Roy. Then Pradyumna Mishra went to see Ramananda Roy again to hear about the transcendental truth from him. A Brahmana from Bengal composed a drama about the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and went to Jagannath Puri to show it to the associates of the Lord. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's secretary Swarup Damodar Goswami heard the drama, he discerned a tinge of Mayavad philosophy and pointed it out to the author. Although Swarup Damodar condemned the entire drama, by reference to secondary meanings of the introductory verse, he nevertheless satisfied the Brahmana. The Brahmana poet thus became greatly obliged to Swarup Damodar Goswami, renounced his family connections, and stayed at Jagannath Puri with the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vaigunya kita kalita pashunya vrana pidita jaina nave nimangano ham Chaitanya vaidam ashraye. I am infected by germs of material activity and suffering from boils due to envy. Therefore, falling in an ocean of humility, I take shelter of the great physician, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Jaya Shakti Shuta Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Jaya Jaya Kripa Maya Nityananda Danya. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Ch.Ch. All glories to Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Indeed, he is the most glorious and merciful. Jaya Dvaita Kripa Sindhu, Jaya Bhakta Gana, Jaya Swarupa Gadadhara, Rupa Sanatana. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Advaita Prabhu, the ocean of mercy, and to all devotees such as Swarup Damodar Goswami, Gadadhara Pandit, Sri Rupa Goswami, and Sri Sanatana Goswami. Ekadina Pradyumna Mishra Prabhura Charane, Dandavarkari Kichu Nakare Nivadane. One day Pradyumna Mishra came to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, offering his respects and inquiring from him with great submission. Shrina Prabhu Muni Dina Grishna Kriyasta Adama Kona Bhagya Panochan Tumara Dulabacharana. My Lord, he said, kindly hear me. I am a cripple-minded householder, the most fallen of men, but somehow by my good fortune I have received the shelter of your lotus feet, which are rarely to be seen. Krishna Katha Shuni Bara Mora Ichahaya, Krishna Katha Kaha More Ghana Sadaya. I wish to hear topics concerning Lord Krishna constantly. Be merciful unto me and kindly tell me something about Krishna. Prabhu Kehena Krishna Katha Ami Nahi Jani, Sabe Ramananda Jane Tandra Muke Shuni. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I do not know about topics concerning Lord Krishna. I think that only Ramananda Roy knows, for I heard these topics from him. It's unfathomable. The Lord is playing the role of devotee, being so humble. He said, no, Ramananda Roy knows, I don't know. It is your good fortune that you are inclined to hear topics regarding Krishna. The best course for you would be to go to Ramananda Roy and hear these topics from him. Krishna Kataya Ruchi Tomara Bada Bhagyavan, Yara Krishna Kataya Ruchi, say Bhagyavan. I see that you have acquired a taste for hearing talks regarding Krishna. Therefore you are extremely fortunate. Not only you, but anyone who has awakened such a taste is considered most fortunate. Dharma svanushtita punksham vishvakshena katasu yaha notapadyad yadi notim shrama eva hi kevalam. A person who properly performs his regulative duties according to varna and ashrama, but does not develop his dormant attachment with Krishna or awaken his taste to hear and chant about Krishna, is certainly labouring fruitlessly. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, text 8. Tabe pradyumnya misha gela ramanandera stane, rayera sevaka tanre vasaila asane. Pradyumna Misha, being thus advised by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, went to the home of Ramananda Roy. There the servant of Ramananda Roy gave him a proper place to sit down. Dashana Pandya Mishra Sevake Puchila Rayera Vartanta Sevaka Kahita Lagila. Unable to see Ramananda Roy immediately, Pradyumna Mishra inquired from the servant, who then gave a description of Sri Ramananda Roy. Deva Kanya Haya Parama Sundari Nitya Gita Shuni Punya Vayasi Kishori. There are two dancing girls who are extremely beautiful. They are very youthful and they are expert in dancing and singing. Se Dune Lanya Raya Nibrita Udyane Nija Nataka Gitera Shikaya Nartane. This is too high to read really on a day like this. This is very intimate stuff about Ramananda Roy and his interaction with the dancing girls in Jagannath Puri. This is one section of the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Srila Gurudev said you should never read on your own, and you should only read it in a congregation of devotees, and only when a very senior Vaishnava is present.
Which one, sir?
It's the Ramananda Roy instructs Pradyumna Mishra, and it's about massaging girls' bodies and things like this. I'm not reading this chapter live. So, Ki Jai. Can you quickly get me volume 1 of Chaitanya Charitamrita, this there in the...
What do you say?
Hare Krishna.
Are you happy with it like that? That way? I think so.
Thank you, Prabhu. Jai Shishi Guru Garangaradi Giri Dalju Ki Jai. So we're going to read from the pastimes for Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Coming on the bus tonight to Green Street, Maharaj.
I'm thinking about it, but I might be too much for me.
See how you go.
You know. In this chapter, there is a summary description of all the pastimes performed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during the middle period of his activities, as well as the 6 years at the end of his activities. All of these are described in brief. There is also a description of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstasy that occurred when he recited the verse beginning Ya Kumara Haraha, and there is also an explanation of that ecstasy given in the verse Priya Sohyam Krishna by Srila Rupa Goswami. Because he wrote that verse, Srila Rupa Goswami was specifically blessed by the Lord. There is also a description of the many books written by Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami and Srila Jiva Goswami. There is also a description of the meeting between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami in the village known as Ramakeli. Yasa Prasada Ragnopi Sadhya Sarva Gyanatam Vrajet Sa Sri Chaitanya Devo Me Bhagavan Samprasidatu. Even a person with no knowledge can immediately acquire all knowledge simply by the benediction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore I am praying to the Lord for his causeless mercy upon me. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sohadito Godadyaya Pushpavanto Chitru Sando Tamo Nudo. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who like the sun and moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance, and this wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. Jaitam Surita Pango Mama Manda Mate Gati Matsarvasya Padambujo Radha Madana Mohanho. Jaitam, all glory to, Surato, most merciful, or attached in conjugal love, Pango of one who is lame, Mama of me, Manda Mate foolish, Gati refuge, Matmai, Sarvasva everything, Pada Ad Ambujo, whose lotus feet, Radha Madha Mohanho, Radharani and Madha Mohan. Glory to the all-merciful Radha and Madha Mohan. I am lame and ill-advised, yet they are my directors, and their lotus feet are everything. Divid Vrindaranya Kalpa Drumadaha, Srimad Ratnagara Singha Sanasto, Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo, Krishtalevi Sevyamano Smarami. These are part of the Vandana prayers in the morning. Yeah. So, Radha Madha Mohan, he who attracts, keep it, reestablishes our relationship with the Lord, okay? Madha Mohan. And he's beloved of Radharani. So in the Temple of Jewels, in Vrindavan, underneath the desire tree, Shri Radha Govinda serve their most confidential associates, sit upon an effulgent throne. I offer my humble obeisances to them. Okay, this is a form where when you become a devotee, if you like, they accept your service and you begin to have a relationship with them. Okay, so I understand it. Shriman Rasa Rasambi Vangshi Vatashtitaha Kashim Vinaismanai Gopir Gopinath Shriyaistunaha. May Gopinathji, who attracts all the gopis with the song of his flute, and who has begun the most melodious rasa dance on the bank of the Yamuna in Vangshivata, be merciful upon us. This is the highest, this Madhurya Ras, worship of Sri Radha Gopinath. Gopinath is the Lord, the Lord of the gopis. Okay, Gopinath. Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandra, Jaya Kripa Sindhu, Jaya Jaya Ch.Ch Mata Jaya Dina Bandhu. All glories to Sri Gora, unto Sri Gora Hari, who is an ocean of mercy. All glories unto you, the son of Shachi Devi, for you are the only friend of all fallen souls. Jaya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Sri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. All glories unto Lord Nityananda and Advaita Prabhu, and all glories unto all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, headed by Srivas Thakur. Purvaka Hilon Adi Lilara Shutragana Yaha Vistariyachena Dasa Vrindavana. I have previously described in synopsis the Adi Lila initial pastimes, which have already been fully described by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Ateva Tara Ami Sutra Matra Kayilun Yakichu Vishesha Sutra Madhyehi Kayilun. I have therefore given only a synopsis of those incidents. Whatever specifics were to be related have already been given in that synopsis. He's given me Madhya Lila. I asked for... okay. Yeah. I knew I was reading the wrong... I was expecting to read Adi Lila Volume 1, but... No, we'll go with this now.
Okay.
But I wanted to explain something about this understanding. It's a Chintya Beda philosophy. Prabhu is saying that Mahaprabhu is Radha and Krishna combined. Right? And that's true. But it's also true to say that and it's explained in the first 5 or 6 verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita and in the purports by Swami Maharaj. That Krishna is one, but the Radha and Krishna are separate of themselves eternally for the benefit of the fallen souls, to show the relationship, to show love of Godhead. But it's also true then to say that they combine as Radha and Krishna, but that is also Krishna. He's also Krishna himself. Yes, so it's both. It's a Chintya Beda. It's difficult to understand, but both are correct. You can say yes. Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Krishna. That's why the name is Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Lord Krishna, but he's also Radha and Krishna combined. Okay.
By the same token, say Srimati Radharani is one entity as well, and also combined.
Yes.
The same.
Yes. Ebekai Shesha Lilara Mukhya Sutragana Prabhura Shesha Lila Nayaya Varnana. Describe the unlimited pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not possible, but I now wish to relate the chief incidents and give a synopsis of those pastimes occurring at the end. Dara Madhya Ye Bhaga Dasa Vrindavan Chaitanya Mangala Vistari Karila Varnana Se Bhagira Ihan Sutra Matra Likiba Dahanya Vishesha Kichu Ihan Vistariba. I shall describe only in synopsis that portion which Vrindavan Das Thakur has described very elaborately in his book Chaitanya Mongol. Whatever incidents are outstanding, however, I shall later elaborate. Chaitanya Lila Ravyasa Dasa Vrindavan Tandri Agnya Karan Tandra Uchishta Chavana. Actually, the authorized compiler of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Srila Das Vrindavan, the incarnation of Vyasadeva. Okay? Only upon his orders am I trying to chew the remnants of the food that he has left. Bhakti Kari Shire Dari Tanhara Charana Sheshalila Sutra Gana Kariya Vanana. So, to go back to that one and explain it. The authorized compiler of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Vrindavan Das Thakur, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Okay? And he is the incarnation of Srila Vyasadeva, who is the compiler of the Vedas, the Bhagavad Purana, all the Puranas, the Brahma Samhita, Upanishads, yes, all these Mahabharata, compile them all. Bhakti Kuri Shire Dari Tanhara Charana, Shishalilara Sutra Gana Kariya Vanana. Placing his lotus feet upon my head in great devotion, I shall now describe in summary the Lord's final pastimes. Chabisha Vatsara Prabhura Griya Avastana Tanya Karila Lila Adi Lila Nama. For 24 years, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained at home, and whatever pastimes he performed during that time are called the Adi Lila. Chobisha Vatsara Sheshe Yamaga Masa Tara Shukla Pakshe Prabhu Karila Sannyasa. The end of his 24th year, in the month of Magha, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, the Lord accepted the renounced order of life, sannyasa. Sannyasa Kariya Chabisha Vatsara Avastana Tanya Lila Tara Shesha Lila Nama. After accepting sannyas, Lord Chaitanya remained within this material world for another 24 years. Within this period, whatever pastimes he enacted are called the Shesha Lila, or pastimes occurring at the end. Shesha Lila Madhya Antya Doinama Hoya Lila Beda Vaishnava Saba Nama Beda Kaya. The final pastimes of the Lord, occurring in his last 24 years, are called Madhya middle and Antya final. All the devotees of the Lord refer to his pastimes according to these divisions. Tara Madhya Chaya Vatsara Gamana Gamana Nilachala Goda Setubanda Vrindavana. For 6 years of the last 24, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu travelled all over India from Jagannath Puri to Bengal and from Cape Comorin to Vrindavan. Cape Comorin is right in the south, right at the tip of India. Okay? Tahanya Lila Tara Madhya Lila Nama Tara Pacha Lila Antya Abhidana. In those places, Ye Lila, all the pastimes, Tara of those, Madhya Lila, the middle pastimes, Nama named, Tara Pacha Lila, all the pastimes after that period, Antya Lila, last pastimes, Abhidana, the nomenclature. I read the synonyms for that because it's quite important to understand this aspect. All the pastimes performed by the Lord in those places are known as the Madhya Lila. Whatever pastimes were performed after that are called Antya Lila. Adi Lila, Madhya Lila, Antya Lila Yara, Ebe Madhya Lila Rakichu, Kariya Vistara. The pastimes of the Lord are therefore divided into 3 periods, the Adi Lila, Madhya Lila and Antya Lila. Now shall very elaborately describe the Madhya Lila. Ashtadasha Vasha Kevala Nila Chale Stiti Apaniyachari Jive Shikaila Bhakti. For 18 continuous years, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained at Jagannath Puri, and through his personal behavior instructed all living entities in the mode of devotional service. Tara Madhya Chaya Vatsara Bhakta Gana Sange Prema Bhakti Prabhatayila Nrityan Ita Range. Of these 18 years at Jagannath Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent 6 years with his many devotees. By chanting and dancing, he introduced the loving service of the Lord. Nityananda Goshanira Patayila Goda Deshe Tena Goda Deshe Pashaila Prema Rase. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent Nityananda Prabhu from Jagannath Puri to Bengal, which is known as Godadesh, and Lord Nityananda Prabhu overflooded this country with the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So, it was Lord Nityananda who spread Krishna consciousness in Bengal. Okay? Sahaja in the Madhya Lila pastimes. Sahaja Nityananda Krishna Premadama Prabhu Agnya Kaila Yahantan Premadana. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is by nature very much inspired in rendering transcendental loving service to Lord Krishna. Now being ordered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he distributed this loving service anywhere and everywhere. Tanhara Charane Mora Koti Namaskara Chaitanya Bhakti Yeno Loila Samsara. I offer my innumerable obeisances unto the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who is so kind that he spread the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world. Chaitanya Gosai Yanre Bale Bada Bahai Teno Kaya Mora Prabhu Chaitanya Gosai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to address Nityananda Prabhu as his elder brother, whereas Nityananda Prabhu addressed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his Lord. Yajyapi apani haya Prabhu Palaram Tatapi Chaitanya Rakare Dasa Abhiman. Although Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Balaram himself, he nevertheless always thinks of himself as the eternal servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Seva, Chaitanya Gaulao, Chaitanya Nama, Chaitanya Se Bhakti Kare, Se Mora Prana. Nityananda Prabhu requested everyone to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chant his glories and utter his name. Nityananda Prabhu claimed that person to be his life and soul, who rendered devotional service unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. E mata loke Chaitanya Bhakti loya lila, dina hina nindaka sabari nistarila. In this way, Srila Nityananda Prabhu introduced the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to everyone without discrimination. Even though the people were all fallen souls and blasphemers, they were delivered by this process. Now, we are talking who are the blasphemers and who are the fallen souls. They were in India at that time. People who think that Krishna is the same as any old god. It's blasphemy. That's what he's actually referring to, okay? Tabe Prabhu Vraja Pataila Rupa Sanatana Prabhu Agya Dui Bhai Aila Vrindavana. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then went to two brothers, Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami to Braj. By his order they went to Sri Vrindavan Dham. Bhakti Pracharya Sarva Tirtha Prakashila Mandana Gopala Govindera Seva Pracharila. After going to Vrindavan, the brothers preached devotional service and discovered many places of pilgrimage. They specially initiated the service of Madan Mohan and Govindaji. So important, those two temples in Vrindavan. Nana Shastra Ani Kaila Bhakti Grantha Sara Muda Adama Janere Teno Karila Nistara. Both Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami brought the various scriptures to Vrindavan and collected the essence of these by compiling many scriptures on devotional service. In this way they delivered all rascals and fallen souls. Now today I'm not going to read the purports. I'm going to read the shlokas only. That's what I was requested to do.
Okay.
So that way we can go through so much.
But you'll give a purport here and there. But you'll give a purport here and there.
Well, if you think it's something that isn't so clear and so obvious, then I'll help you out, because you're relatively new, if you like,
Yeah.
and you need to know certain things. Why it's so important. Why do we worship both Radha Madhya Mohan and Radha Govindaji? I explained something of that in a very basic way. earlier on, yes?
About Cinti Benedetta.
Yeah, no. To establish our relationship with the Lord, we worship Radha Madha Mohan. Yeah? That's why because we're to reactivate our dormant Krishna consciousness. We should Radha Madha Mohan. That reaches to us first. And then there's Radha Govinda. Radha Govinda, as we explained earlier, they enjoy intimate pastimes with their devotees in a service relationship. It's not the same with Radha Madha Mohan. There is a relationship there because you establish a new relationship. We'll be talking about the 5 mellows. Shantaras, Dasya Ras, Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, and Madhurya Ras. Yeah? You're establishing that service relationship. And they're accepting the service and relishing the pastimes with their devotees. More so than with Radha Madha Mohan. Radha Mohan is for like you've lost. It's like you first come into Krishna consciousness, you're somehow attracted, but that service relationship is not there. You have to purify yourself. Purify yourself to be able to establish a real service relationship with the Lord. Your service is with the Guru. Your relationship with the Guru. If you're thinking you've got a service relationship with Krishna, this is very dangerous. Right? Actually, it's dangerous. The service is with the Guru. We do not have a relationship with Krishna. We're too dirty, too filthy, and sinful enough. We've got so many anarthas to clear out, so many bad qualities to start to understand that. This is it, yes. I mean, Krishna never leaves Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world. Krishna comes here as an expansion of Krishna. Yet is Krishna. This is a Ch.Ch again. He never comes in contact with us, with the most fallen souls. That's why Nityananda comes in, for Nityananda in his Kali Yuga. It's he that delivers the fallen souls.
So, Radha Madha Mohan is the one that attracts you in the first place. Something.
This is the one we worship when we're attracted. This is what we should worship. We should, yeah.
Without that service, without that, before the connection with Guru, without that service, you're like,
Yes. But on Parikrama, we still go to Radha Madha Mohan, we go to Radha Govindaji, and we go to Radha Gopinath. But to get, people don't realize to actually be able to go to Vrindavan to do that. You're being blessed by Nityananda and by your Gurudev to come in connection with that. Somehow you get the good fortune.
Yeah, I've always heard about more notes about this, like it's all about the Guru and connection and service. I think this is really ignorant, but I didn't realize there was a special name for Radha Madha Mohan. I mean, even though I've heard the name, that's because I just used to think like
they are Radha and Krishna in expansions form, who perform a certain role to bring the souls gradually to a higher platform. But for us, it's even lower than that because somehow Krishna in our heart, something happens. We become attracted in Krishna consciousness. We do the Harinam somehow over a period of time. And then we get the Guru. We come to a Guru who are the genuine Sadgurus. They are Krishna in the form of Guru. Yet they're not Krishna. Simultaneously, again, it's Ch.Ch. simultaneously one and different. The Guru is beloved to Krishna, and yet he is Krishna in the form of Guru. That's how we can get a connection. So Nityananda brings us, actually, from within, and bestows his unfathomable mercy, unconditionally, not considering who's fit or unfit. Somehow he just does it. And then it brings us to Guru, and then from Guru it takes us further. Okay? And teaches us these things in the proper way.
Maharaj, I've heard it said that Srimati Radharani
Balaram.
which is Nityananda.
Balaram Nityananda. Okay. This is how do we explain that? Okay. The highest form of bhava is Madhurya Ras. We are in the mat, our gurus are worshippers of Radha Dasyam, actually. Who is the most expert servitor who knows, who can expertly serve Krishna? Radharani. Okay? Only she, only through Radharani can we fully satisfy Krishna. In some associate. We can't even have a direct relationship with her. It comes to Lalita, who is her servitor, and Rupa Manjari, who's the head of the Manjaris in their group, servitor of Lalita, and then we come down from that to Guru. Okay, he's a representative. So she's instructing Radha Dasyam. Lord Balaram, Nityananda, is also can be considered original spiritual master for the general, it's the simplest way I can spell it, it's not quite like this, but the general spreading of Krishna's name in the world. He is the spiritual master for that. You cannot go directly into this line of Radha Dasyam. It's impossible. For an ordinary contaminated soul, it's a process, a purification. So Lord Balaram is the spiritual master. He is the Sandini potency of the Lord. There's three potencies: Samvit, Sandini, and Hladini. Krishna is his internal potency. That's Samvit. Sandini potency is the potency that creates the material universe, all living entities, all this. Okay, there's expansions of Ch.Ch, many expansions, Nityananda, Vishnu. So it's from them. Hladini Shakti is the highest form of bhava, represented by the personality Radharani. Okay? That's the highest bhava. It's so high, you cannot suddenly go to that if you're a conditioned soul, having millions of lifetimes, completely engrossed in sense gratification, full of kama, krodha, lobha, moha. You know what this means. All these kinds of dirty things. You cannot, the impure cannot, the pure will not come near the impure. So it's a gradual process. So Nityananda comes, because he's in that sense, he is the original spiritual master, that he's initially bringing the conditioned souls back, so that to clean them, so they can then be instructed by the original spiritual master, the Guru, who's servitor of Rupa Manjari, who's servitor of Lalita, who's servitor of Srimati Radharani. That's how I understand it. Okay? Is that a bit clearer now? Okay, as long as it is, and I don't know if I'm explaining it right, because these things are very intricate and very involved. They're not so simple.
It's like you need Nityananda to capture the souls, to go to this plane, but your service can't be accepted unless it's accepted through Radharani. You need all these other agents.
Yes, all these other agents. It's all part of a very, very involved and really loving and merciful pastimes and process. What do you think? When I think back, how have I come to even read about these things? Born in the circumstances I was born in. Which we were all born in. Yavana, Malecha families. People talk about Shudras. There are no Shudras left, practically in Kali Yuga. Shudras are people who are the personalities who are fully engaging, serving the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Brahmanas. And when you consider that Ramananda Roy was considered a Shudra, He's a pound, shillings and pence man, as Swami Maharaj would say. He's engaged in material activities, in money and doing things. He's a governor of a province within the kingdom of King Prataparudra. Okay? Ministry Mahaprabhu doesn't want to do anything, yet he's the highest devotee, servitor of Mahaprabhu. He and Saru Damodar, two of the 3.5 most intimate servitors. What's this? Somehow this is so involved, you know. Again, it's so many things in that, understanding that, why that's the case. Anyway, we continue reading.
Sorry, Rupa Goswami, or is it?
Ramananda Roy.
Sorry.
Ramananda Roy. Famous conversation, the pastimes. Mahaprabhu was told by Krishna Das Kaviraj to go to learn about Krishna consciousness from Ramananda. Who do you recommend? Says Mahaprabhu. I recommend Ramananda Roy. You know, he's higher than me. Okay. Tara Madhya Chai Vatsara Bhakta Gana Sange Prema Bhakti Pravartayila Nritya Gita Range. Over these 18 years in Jagannath Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent 6 years with his many devotees. By chanting and dancing, he introduced the loving service of the Lord. Nityananda Goshanira Patayla Goda Deshe Teno Goda Deshe Bashila Prema Rase. Oh, I read this, sorry. I'll read it again now. I lost my place. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent Nityananda Prabhu from Jagannath Puri to Bengal, which was known as Godadesh. Lord Nityananda Prabhu overflooded this country with the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Sahajai Nityananda Krishna Prema Dhamma Prabhu Agya Kaila Ihan Tahan Prema Dana. Shri Nityananda Prabhu is by nature very much inspired in rendering transcendental loving service to Lord Krishna. Now being awed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he distributed this loving service anywhere and everywhere. Tanara Charane Mora Koti Namaskar Chaitanya Bhakti Yeno Loila Samsara. I offer innumerable obeisances unto the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. He is so kind that he spread the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world. Chaitanya Gosai Andre Bale Badabhai Yeno Kahe Mora Prabhu Chaitanya Gosai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to address Nityananda Prabhu as his elder brother, whereas Nityananda Prabhu addressed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his Lord. Yadyapi Apani Haya Prabhu Balaram Tatapi Chaitanya Rekare Dasa Abhiman. Although Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Balaram himself, he nonetheless always thinks of himself as the eternal servant of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Seva Chaitanya Gau Lau Chaitanya Nama Chaitanya Ye Bhakti Kare Se Mora Prana. Nityananda Prabhu requested everyone to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chant his glories and utter his name. Nityananda Prabhu claimed that person to be his life and soul, who rendered devotional service unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this way, Sri Nityananda Prabhu introduced the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to everyone without discrimination. Even though the people were fallen souls and blasphemers, they were delivered by this process. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then sent the two brothers, Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami, to Braj. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Sundar Radhagiri Jaju Ki Jai. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then sent the two brothers, Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami, to Braj. By his order, they went to Sri Vrindavan Dham. Bhakti Pracharya Sarvatita Prakashila Madhya Mohan Govindera Seva Pracharila. After going to Vrindavan, the two brothers preached devotional service and discovered many places of pilgrimage. They specifically initiated the service of Madhya Mohan and Govindaji. Nana Shastra Ani Kaila Bhakti Grantasara Muda Adama Janera Teno Karila Nistara. Both Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami brought various scriptures to Vrindavan and collected the essence of these by compiling many scriptures in devotional service. In this way they delivered all rascals and fallen souls. Prabhu Agnya Kaila Sabha Shastrera Vichara, Prajera Nigudha, Bhakti Karila Prachara. The Goswamis carried out the preaching work of devotional service on the basis of an analytical study of all confidential Vedic literatures. This was in compliance with the order of Ch.Ch. Mahaprabhu. Thus one can understand the most confidential devotional service of Vrindavan. Hari Bhakti Vilas, Ara Bhagavatamrita, Dashama Tipini, Ara Dashama Charita. Some of the books compiled by Srila Sanatana Goswami were Hari Bhakti Vilas, Bhagavatamrita, Dashama Tipani, and Dashama Charita. Esaba Granta Kaila Koshai Sanatana, Rupa Koshai Kaila Yata Ke Karu Ganana. We have already given the names of 4 books compiled by Sanatana Goswami. Similarly, Sri Rupa Goswami has also compiled many books, which no one can even count. Padana Padana Kichud Kariya Ganana, Laksha Granta Kaila Vraja Vilasa Varnana. I shall therefore enumerate the chief books compiled by Sri Rupa Goswami. He has described the pastimes of Vrindavan in thousands of verses. Rasamarita Sindhu, Aravi Dagda Madhava, Ujvala Nilamani, Alita Madhava. The books compiled by Sri Rupa Goswami include Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Vidagda Madhava, Ujvala Nilamani, and Alita Madhava. Dana Keli Komudi, Arabahu Stavavali, Ashtadasha Lila Chanda, Ara Padyavali, Govinda Viruddhavali, Tahara Lakshana, Mathura Mahatmya, Ara Nataka Varana. Srila Rupa Goswami also compiled Dila Keli Komudi, Stavavali, Lila Chanda, Padyavali, Govinda Viruddhavali, Mathura Mahatmya, and Nataka Varnana. Lagu Bhagavatam Tadi Ke Karu Ganana, Savatra Karila Vraja Vilasa Vanana. Who can count the rest of the books, headed by Lagu Bhagavatamrita, written by Srila Rupa Goswami? He has described the pastimes of Vrindavan in all of them. Tara Pratush Putra Nama Sri Jiva Gosai Yata Bhakti Granta Kaila Tara Antanai. Srila Rupa Goswami's nephew, Srila Jiva Goswami, has compiled so many books on devotional service that there is no counting them. Sri Bhagavat Sandarbha, Nama Granta Vistara, Bhakti Siddhanta Retate, Dikyaya Chena Para. In Sri Bhagavat Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami has written conclusively about the ultimate end of devotional service. Gopala Champuname Granta Mahashura, Nitya Lila Stapana Yahe, Vraja Rasapura. The most famous and formidable transcendental literature is the book named Gopala Champu. In this book, the eternal pastimes of the Lord are established, and the transcendental mellows enjoyed in Vrindavan are completely described. E Mata Nana Granta Kariya Prakasha, Goshti Sahite Kaile Vrindavane Vasa. Thus, Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and their nephew, Srila Jiva Goswami, as well as practically all other family members, lived in Vrindavan and published important books on devotional service. The first year after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the renounced order of life, all the devotees headed by Sri Advaita Prabhu went to see the Lord at Jagannath Puri. Ratiyatra Deki Tahan Rahili Chari Masa Prabhu Sangya Nitya Gita Parama Ulasa. After attending the Ratiyatra ceremony at Jagannath Puri, all the devotees remained there for 4 months, greatly enjoying the company of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by performing kirtan, chanting and dancing. At the time of departure, the Lord requested all the devotees, Please come here every year to see Rath Yatra festival of Lord Jagannath's journey to the Ch.Ch temple. And that's our tradition. We follow that. Every year we go to Rath Yatra. Prabhu Agya Bhakta Gana Pratyabda Ashia Ch.Ch Dekiya Yana Prabhure Miliya. Following the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the devotees used to visit Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every year. They would see the Ch.Ch festival at Jagannath Puri and then return home after 4 months. Vikshati Vatsara Aiche Kaila Katagati Ayone Dunhara Duna Vina Nahi Stiti. For 25 consecutive years this meeting took place, and the situation became so intense that the Lord and his devotees could not be happy without meeting one another. Shesha Ara Ye Rahe Dvadvasa Vatsara Krishnera Virhalila Prabhura Antara. The last 12 years were simply devoted to relishing the pastimes of Krishna in separation within the heart of the Lord. Nirantara Ratri Dina Virha Unmade Hase Kande Nache Gaya Parama Visade. In the attitude of separation, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared mad both day and night. Sometimes he laughed and sometimes he cried. Sometimes he danced and sometimes he chanted in great sorrow. Yakale Karena Jagannatha Dashana Manabhave Kurikshetre Panachi Milana. At those times, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would visit Lord Jagannath. Then his feelings exactly corresponded to those of the gopis when they saw Krishna at Kurukshetra after long separation. Krishna had come to Kurukshetra with his brother and sister to visit. Ratyatraya Age Yabe Karena Nartana Tahane Pada Matra Karaya Gayana. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to dance before the cart during the festival, he always sang the following 2 lines. Seta Paranata Payano Yatalagi Mada Dahene Juri Genu. I've gotten that Lord of my life for whom I was burning in the fire of lusty desires. Edoya Gane Nachena Dvitya Prahara Krishna Lanya Vrajayai Ebhava Antara. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to sing this song, Seta Parananata, especially during the latter part of the day, and he would think, let me take Krishna and go back to Vrindavan. This ecstasy was always filling his heart. Ebhave Nritya Made Pade Eshloka Se Shlokera Arta Kehanai Buje Loka. In that ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited one verse when dancing in front of Lord Jagannath. Almost no one could understand the meaning of that verse. Ya Komara Haraha Sa Eva Hivarastha Eva Chaitra Kshapas Te Konmilita Malati Surabhaya Proda Kadamba Nilaha Sa Chaivangsi Tatapi Tatra Surata Vyapira Lida Vido Reva Rodasi Itasi Taru Tale Cheta Samata Kantate. That very personality who stole away my heart during my youth is now again my master. These are the same moonlight nights of the month of Chaitra. The same fragrance of malati flowers is there, and the same sweet breezes are blowing from the Kadamba forest. In our intimate relationship, I am also the same lover, yet still my mind is not happy here Jai Shri Shri Guru Grangara Sunda Radha Giridaju Ki Jai. I'll repeat that line. In our intimate relationship, I am also the same lover, yet still my mind is not happy here. I am eager to go back to that place on the bank of the river under the Vitasi tree. That is my desire. This verse appears in Pajavali, verse 382 by Srila Rupa Goswami. A shlokera artha jane ekale swarupa daive se vatsara tan yachena rupa. This verse appears in the hankering between some ordinary boy and girl, but its actual deep meaning was known only to Swarup Damodar. By chance, one year Rupa Goswami was also present there. Prabhu Mukhe Shloka Shonir Shri Rupa Gosai Se Shlokera Artha Shloka Karila Tatai. Though the meaning of the verse was known only to Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, after hearing it from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, immediately composed another verse describing the meaning of the original verse. Shloka Kari Ekatale Patrete Likiya Apanavastare Chale Rakila Gunjiya. After composing this verse, Rupa Goswami wrote it on a palm leaf and put it on the roof of the thatched house in which he was living. Shloka Raki Gela Samudra Snane Hoite Yena Kale Aila Prabhu Tanhare Mirite. After composing this verse and putting it on the roof of his house, Sri Rupa Goswami went to bathe in the sea. In the meantime, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the house to meet him. Haridasa Thakura Ararupana Sanatana Jagannath Mandira Nayana Tina Jana. To avoid turmoil, three great personalities, Haridas Thakur, Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami, did not enter the temple of Jagannath. Mahaprabhu Jagannathera Upala Bhoga Dakiya Nija Yanya Eitinera Melia. Every day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to see the Upala Bhoga ceremony at the temple of Jagannath. And after saying this, he used to go to visit these three great personalities on his way to his own residence. Upala Bhoga is a particular type of offering performed just behind the Gaudiya Stamba, which is on a stone slab. The stone slab is called the Upala. All food is offered within the temple, room Sama below the altar of Jagannath. This Bhoga, however, was offered on the stone slab within the vision of the public. Therefore it is called Upala Bhoga. Etina Madhya Yabe Take Yajana Tanre Asi Apane Mile Prabhura Niyama. If one of these three was not present, he would meet the others. That was his regular practice. Daive Asi Prabhu Ye Udrivete Chayila Chale Gunja Tala Patre Se Shloka Paila. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the residence of Srila Rupa Goswami, he accidentally saw the palm leaf on the roof. Thus he read the verse composed by him. Shloka Padi Ache Prabhu Avistahaya Rupa Gosai Asi Padi Dhanyavad Hana. After reading the verse, Sri Chaitanya Prabhu went into a ecstatic mood. While while he was in that state, Sri Rupa Goswami came and immediately fell down on the floor like a rod. Uti Mahaprabhu Tare Chapada Maria Korite Kichu Kolete Kariya. When Rupa Goswami fell down like a rod, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got up and gave him a slap. Then asking him and taking him on his lap, began to speak to him. No one knows the purport of my verse. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, How could you understand my intention? Ita bali tanre bahu prasada kariya swarupa goshanire shloka dekila lanya. Saying this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestowed various benedictions upon Rupa Goswami, and taking the verse, he later showed it to Swarupa Goswami. Swarupa Puchena Prabhu Haya Vismite Mora Manera Katarupa Janila Kimate. Having shown the verse to Swarup Damodar with great wonder, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him how Rupa Goswami could understand the intentions of his mind. Swarup kahe ye janila tomara mana tata jani haya tomara kshipra bhajana. Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami replied to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if Rupa Goswami can understand your mind and intention, he must have your Lordship's special benediction. Very important. Prabhu kaya tara ami santushta hanya alingana kailo sarva shakti sancharya. The Lord said, I was so pleased with Rupa Goswami that I embraced and bestowed upon him all necessary potencies for preaching the Bhakti cult. Even apparent, crooked, indirect means, you know. So, this is an example whereby he is endowed, Rupa Goswami, with the empowerment to spread Krishna consciousness, the head of the Sampradaya, if you like. And yet, she's empowering him in such a way, for a certain service. Yet, Swarup Damananda Roy, Swarup Damananda Roy, Sikhi Mahiti, and Madhavi are considered the most intimate associates of Mahaprabhu. Yet, he's making Sri Rupa Goswami so much more powerful that he can actually read the Lord's intentions. So that's the confirmation that the spiritual master is the incarnation of the Lord. That's what it signifies to me.
Why would he have chosen Goswami over his intimate services?
Because it's a different service, different thing. Swarupakaya janila tamara mana, tate jani heya tamara kripa bhajana. Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami replied to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if Rupa Goswami can understand your mind and intentions, he must have your Lordship's special benediction. Prabhu kahe tare ami santushta hanya Alingana Kaila Sarva Shakti Sancharya. The Lord said, I was so pleased with Rupa Goswami that I embraced him and bestowed upon him all necessary potencies for preaching the Bhakti cult. Yogya Patra Haya Guda Rasa Vivichane Tumiye Kahiyo Gare Guda Rasa Kyane. I accept Srila Rupa Goswami as quite fit to understand the confidential mellows of devotional service, and I recommend that you explain devotional service to him further. Isaba Kaiba Age Vistara Harina Sankshepe Udesha Kaila Prastava Payanya. I shall describe all these incidents elaborately later on. Now I have given only a brief reference. Priya Soham Krishna Sachari Kuru Kshetra Militas Tataham Sarada Tad Idam Ubayo Sangama Sukham Tatapi Anta Kelan Madura Murali Panchama Chushe Maname Kalindi Pulina Vipinina Spriyayati. This is a verse composed by Srimati Radharani. My dear friend, now I have met my very dear old and learned friend Krishna on this field of Kurukshetra. I'm the same Radharani. Now we are meeting together. It is very pleasant. But still I would like to go to the bank of the Jamuna beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibration of his sweet flute, playing the fifth note within the forest of Vrindavan. It's from Padya Valley, text 383 by Srila Rupa Goswami.
Maharaj, I've always wondered what the fifth note is. Do you know what that means?
No. In short?
I used to make a parallel between the words, those things, the religious things. You've got the four things.
Yes.
And then you've got the fifth one. I don't know what the parallel is. It's five things.
I don't know that.
No one knows.
I'm so mystically gifted, I'm almost like it's non-existent. So I couldn't.
Yeah, but musically it doesn't signify. I mean, I don't know. It's something else. It's not like.
My intimation is something to do with the flute, this fifth note. Is the note that attracts from Madhurya. Yes, I think. Ishlokera Shanksha Parta Sunna Bhakti Gana Jagannatha Deki Ch.Ch Prabhura Bhavana. Now, O devotees, please hear a brief explanation of this verse. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was thinking in this way after having seen the Jagannath deity. Shri Radhika Kurukshetra Krishnera Dashana Yadyapi Payana Tabu Bhavena Aichana. The subject of his thoughts was Srimati Radharani. Ch.Ch. Krishna. Ch.Ch. Krishna. Welcome. Welcome. just wait a little while. Okay, we'll continue now. Shri Radhika Kurukshetra Krishnera Dashana Vidyapi Payana Tabu Bhavena Aichana. The subject of his thoughts was Srimati Radharani, who met Krishna in the field of Kurukshetra. Though she met Krishna there, she was nonetheless thinking of him in the following way. Raja Vesha Hati Goda Manusha Gahana Khan Gopa Vesha Khan Nirjana Vrindavana. She thought of him in the calm and quiet atmosphere of Vrindavan, dressed as a cowherd boy. But at Kurukshetra he was in a royal dress and accompanied by elephants, horses and crowds of men. Thus the atmosphere was not congenial for their meeting. She thought of him in the calm and quiet atmosphere of Vrindavan, dressed as a cowherd boy. But at Kurukshetra he was in a royal dress, was accompanied by elephants, horses and crowds of men. Thus the atmosphere was not congenial to their meeting. Say Baba, say Krishna, say Vrindavana, Yabe Pai, Tabe Hoi, Vangchita Purana. Thus meeting with Krishna and thinking of the Vrindavan atmosphere, Radharani longed for Krishna to take her to Vrindavan again to fulfill her desire in that calm atmosphere. Ahushcha talalina naba padarana vindam Yogeshvarai hirdi vinchitam agda bodaihi Samsara kupa patitora nalavan nambram Gayam jusham api masi udyat sadhanaha. The gopis that spoke thus Jayo. Jai Krishna. You can stay if you wish. Thus meeting with Krishna and thinking of the Vrindavan atmosphere, Radharani longed to take Krishna to her Vrindavan again to fulfill a desire in that calm atmosphere. Ayushchana lalina naba padarana vindam Yogeshvarare hridi vinchitam agda bodhahi Samsara kupa patito tatarana valambam Gehem jusham api masya udiyat sadhanaha. The gopi spoke thus, Dear Lord, whose navel is just like a lotus flower, your lotus feet are the only shelter of those who have fallen into the deep well of material existence. Your feet are worshipped and meditated upon by great mystic yogis and highly learned philosophers. We wish that these lotus feet may also be awakened within our hearts, although we're the only ordinary persons engaged in household affairs. This verse is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th canto, 82nd chapter, text 49. Tamara charana mora vraja pura gare Udaya karaya yadi tabe vangcha pure. The gopis thought, Dear Lord, If your lotus feet again come to our home in Vrindavan, our desires will be fulfilled. Bhagavatera shloka gudharta vishada karnina rupa gosai shloka kaila loka bujahinya. In one verse, Srila Rupa Goswami has explained the confidential meaning of the verse of Srimad Bhagavatam for the understanding of the general populace. Yate lila prasa parim Lord Gadgari Vanya Parita Janya Krishani Vilasati Vrita Maturi Madurubihi Tatras Mahibis Chatula Pashupi Bhava Mugdan Tarabihi Sangvitas Tam Tvam Kalya Vandanolashi Venu Viharam. The gopis continued, Dear Krishna, the fragrance of the mellows of your pastimes is spread throughout the forests of the glorious land of Vrindavan, which is surrounded by the sweetness of the district of Mathura. In the congenial atmosphere of that wonderful land, you may enjoy your pastimes, with your flute dancing on your lips, and surrounded by the gopis whose hearts are always enchanted by unpredictable ecstatic emotions. This is a verse from the Lita Madhava. E mata Mahaprabhu deki Jagannathe, Subhadra Sahita deke Vangshi nahi hate. In this way, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Jagannath, he saw that the Lord was with his sister Subhadra, who was not holding a flute in his hand. Tribhanga Sundara Vraja Vrajendra Nandana Gahan Paba E Vangsha Bade Anukshana. Absorbed in the ecstasy of the gopis, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wished to see Lord Jagannath in his original form as Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, standing in Vrindavan and appearing very beautiful, his body curved in 3 places. His desire to see that form was always increasing. Radhika Umada Iche Uddhava Dashane Udgurna Palapa Taiche Prabhura Ratri Dinye. Just as Srimati Radharani talked inconsistently with a bumblebee in the presence of Uddhava, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his ecstasy talked crazily and inconsistently day and night. Radhasha Vatsara Shesha Aiche Gonaila E Mata Shesha Lila Trivardane Kaila. The last 12 years of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were passed in this transcendental craziness. Thus he executed his last pastimes in 3 ways. Sanyasa Kari Chabisha Vatsara Kaila Ye Karma Nanta Para Tare Ke Janibe Marma. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Gurudev. Take care now. Sweet. But for the 24 years after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the Ram's order, whatever pastimes he executed were unlimited and unfathomable. Who can understand the purport of such pastimes? Udesha Karite Kari Digdashana Mukhya Lila Kari Sutra Ganana. Just to indicate those pastimes, I'm presenting a general survey of the chief pastimes in the form of a synopsis. I think they're from Manipur originally. These devotees from northeast of India.
More Chinese looking.
Pardon?
More Chinese looking.
Yes, sort of, but they're not Chinese, you know, they're not like that. Pratama Sutra Pabura Sannyasa Karana Sannyasa Kari Chalila Prabhu Sri Vrindavana. This is the first synopsis. After accepting the sannyas order, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeded toward Vrindavan. Premete Vivahala Bhaya Nahika Smarana Radhadesha Tina Dina Karila Brahmana. When proceeding toward Vrindavan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was overwhelmed with the ecstatic love of Krishna, for Krishna. And he lost all remembrance of the external world. In this way he travelled continuously for 3 days in Radhadesh, the country where the Ganges river does not flow. Nityananda Prabhu Mahaprabhu Bulaya Ganga Tire Lanya Aila Yamuna Baliya. First of all, Lord Nityananda bewildered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by bringing him along the banks of the Ganges, saying that it was the river Yamuna. Shanti Pure Acharyera Griya Gagamana Ratama Bhiksha Kaila Tan Ratre Sankirtana. After 3 days, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the house of Advaita Acharya at Shantipur and accepted alms there. This was the first acceptance of alms. At night he performed congregational chanting there. Mata Bhakta Ganera Tahan Karila Milana Sarva Samhadana Kari Kaila Niladri Gamana. At the house of Advaita Prabhu, he met his mother as well as the devotees from Mayapur. He just did everything and then went to Jagannath Puri. Patanana Lila Rasa Devadashana Madhava Purira Kata Gopala Stapana. On the way toward Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed many other pastimes. He visited various temples and heard the story about Madhavendra Puri and the installation of Gopal. Shira Chori Kata Shakshi Gopal Vivarna Nityananda Kali Prabhura Danda Mangjana. From Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard the story of Shira Churi Gopinath and the witness Gopal. Then Nityananda Prabhu broke the sannyas rod belonging to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After his sannyas rod was broken by Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu apparently became very angry and left his company to travel alone to the Jagannath temple. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the Jagannath temple and saw Lord Jagannath, he immediately lost his senses and fell down on the ground. After Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Lord Jagannath in the temple and fell down unconscious, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya took him to his home. The Lord remained unconscious till the afternoon, when he finally regained his consciousness. The Lord had left Nityananda's company and had gone alone to the Jagannath temple. Later Nityananda, Jagadananda, Damodar and Mukunda came to see him. And after seeing him, they were very pleased. Tabe Sarvabhauma Prabhu Parisha Prasada Karila Apana Ishvara Murti Tanre Tekaila. After this incident, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestowed his mercy upon Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya by showing him his original form as the Lord. Tabeta Karila Prabhu Dakshina Gamana Kurmaksheta Kaila Vasudeva Vimochana. After bestowing mercy upon Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the Lord started for southern India. When he came to Kurmakshetra, he delivered a person named Vasudeva. This is traditionally where any of our pilgrimages to South India, they start by going to Kurmakshetra. Yeah?
Right where Lord Jagannath is.
No, that's where Lord Kurmadev is. Kurma, one of the 10 avatars. It's his dham. That's where Lord started his South India tour from. Yeah. Jyada Nashinga Kaila Nashinga Stavana Pate Pate Grame Gramina Pravartana. After visiting Kurmakshetra, the Lord visited the South Indian temple of Jayada Nishinga and offered his prayers to Lord Nishingadev. On this very day, he introduced the chanting of the Harimaya mantra in every village. Kudavari Tiravane Vrindavana Brahma Ramananda Raya Raya Ramananda Roy Saha Tahani Milana. Once the Lord mistook the forest on the bank of the river Godavari to be Vrindavan. In that place, he happened to meet Ramananda Roy. Trimala Tripadi Stana Kaila Dashana Savachakarila Krishna Nama Pracharana. He visited the temple known as Trimala or Tirupati, and there he extensively preached the chanting of the Lord's holy name. This holy place is situated in the district of Tanjore in South India. The temple of Tirupati. Tabisa Pashanti Gane Karela Dalana Ahovala Nishema Dedi Kaila Dashana. After visiting the temple of Trimala or Tripadi, Ch.Ch. Mahaprabhu had to subdue some atheists. He then visited the temple of Ahovala Nishinga. I'll explain something of this. These are most of the dams of the pastimes along the Nishingadev are in Andhra Pradesh. Okay? Now, Ahovalam is the main area where he had his residence palace, whatever. And there are many dams, Vara Nishinga, Pana Nishinga, to certain pastimes that he performed. Shiranga Kshetra, Aila Kavarira Tira, Shiranga Dekya Preme Haila Ashtira. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the land of Sri Rangashetra on the bank of the Kaveri, he visited the temple of Sri Ranganath, was there overwhelmed in the ecstasy of love of Godhead. Trimala Bhatera, Gare Kaila Prabhu Vasa, Tanhani Rahila Prabhu, Pasha Chari Masa. You're going to have to get some cushions. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived in the house of Trimala Bhatta for the 4 months of the rainy season. Sri Vaishnava Trimala Bhatta, Parama Pandita, Koshanira Panditya Prema, Haila Vismita. Sri Trimala Bhatta was both a member of the Sri Vaishnava community and a learned scholar. Therefore, when he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a great scholar, and a great devotee of the Lord, he was very much astonished. Thanks. One for now. I think it's just getting very, very stiff, my leg. Thank you. Excuse me one moment when I do this. Oh, that's better.
Keep going for 5 more hours.
Yes.
Maybe you want to have a break and
I'm okay at the moment. We'll about to break shortly. Someone will have to take over shortly because I need to. So, Sri Vaishnava Trimala Bhatta, Parama Pandita, Kushanira Pandita Prema, Haila Vishmita. No, we did that, sorry, we did that. Very much done. Chaturmasya Tana Prabhu Sri Vaishnava Sane, Konaya Nitya Gita Krishna Sankirtane. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed the Chaturmasya months with the Sri Vaishnavas, dancing, singing and chanting the holy name of the Lord. Chatamasya ante puna takshine gamana Paramananda Puri sa tanhani milana. To the ending of the Chatamasya, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued travelling throughout southern India. That time he met Paramananda Puri. Jabe Bhattahari Oite Krishna Tasera Udara Rama Japi Vipra Mukhe Krishna Nama Prachara. After this, Krishnadas, the servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was delivered from the clutches of a Bhattahari. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then preached that the Lord's Krishna's name should also be chanted by Brahmanas who were accustomed to chanting Lord Rama's name. Shiranga Puri Saha Tanhani Milana Ramadasa Viprera Kaila Dukkha Vimochana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then met Sri Rangapuri and mitigated all the sufferings of the Brahmana named Ramadas. Tatvadi Saha Kaila Tatvera Vichara Apanake Hina Bodhi Haila Tan Sabara. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also had a discussion with the Tattvavadi community, and the Tattvavadis felt themselves to be inferior Vaishnavas. Ananta Purushottamana Shri Janardana Pabanabha Vasudeva Kaila Darshana. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Chaitanya then visited the Vishnu temples of Anantadev, Purushottam, Shri Janardana, Padmanabha and Vasudeva. So I know roughly what he is. Yes. Tabu Prabhu Kailas Saptatala Vimochana Setu Bande Snana Rameshwara Darshana. After that, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered the celebrated Saptatala tree to his birth at Septabandhu Rameshwara, and visited the temple of Lord Shiva known as Rameshwara. It is said of the Saptala tree is very old, massive palm tree. There was once a fight between Bali and his brother Sugriva, and Lord Ramachandra took the side of Sugriva and killed Bali, keeping himself behind his celebrated tree. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu toured. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu toured South India, he embraced this tree. Tahani Karila Kurma Purana Shravana Maya Sita Nilakela Ravana Tahati Likana. At Rameshwara, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a chance to read the Kurma Puran, in which he discovered that the former Sita kidnapped by Ravana was not that of the real Sita, but a mere shadow representative. Shuniya Prabhura Anandita Ailamana Ramadasha Viperakata Haila Varna. Excuse me. Oof. Shuniya Prabhuranitya Hailamana Ramadasa Viperakata Haila Smarana. Sri Chaitanya was very glad to read about the false Sita, and he remembered his meeting with Ramadas Vipra. He was very sorry that Mother Sita had been kidnapped by Ravana. I'm going to have to stop here, bro. The leg is hurting too much. So if you want to sit here and read.
Okay. The number of the verse where you stopped.
Is there?
We start from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, start from there.
Sei Puradana Patra Agraha Kai Nila Ramadase Tekaya Dukkha Kandaila. Indeed, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eagerly tore this page from the Kurma Purana, although the book was very old, and he later showed it to Ramadasa Vipra, whose unhappiness was mitigated. Text 120. Brahma Samhita Karnamrita Dui Punti Pana Dui Pustaka Rana Aila Uttama Janina. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also found two other books, namely Brahma Samhita and Krishna Karnamrita. Knowing these books to be excellent, he took them to present to his devotees. In the olden days, there was no presses, and all the important scriptures were handwritten and kept in large temples. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found Brahma Samhita and Krishna Karnamrita in handwritten texts, and knowing them to be very authoritative, he took them with him to present to his devotees. Of course, he obtained the permission of the temple commander. Now both Brahma Samhita and Krishna Karnamrita are available in print with commentaries by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura. Punarapi nilachale gamana karila bhaktagane melilla snana yatra dekila. After collecting these books, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Jagannath Puri. At that time, the bathing ceremony of Jagannath was taking place, and he saw it. Anavasare Jagannatera na panadarasana virahe alalanata karila gamana. When Jagannatha was absent from the temple, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who could not see him, felt separation and left Jagannath Puri to go to a place known as Alalanata. Alalanata is known as Brahmagiri. This place is about 14 miles from Jagannath Puri, and is also on the beach. There is a temple of Jagannath there. At the present moment, a police station and post office are situated there because so many people come to see the temple. The word Anavasara is used when Sri Jagannathaji cannot be seen in the temple. After the bathing ceremony, Snana Yatra, Lord Jagannath is supposed to become sick. He is therefore removed to his private apartment, where no one can see him. Actually, during this period, renovations are made on the body of the Jagannath deity. This is called Navajauvana. During the Ratha Yatra ceremony, Lord Jagannath once again comes before the public. Thus, for 15 days after the bathing ceremony, Lord Jagannath is not visible to any visitors. Bhakta sane dina kata tahani rahila gaudera bhakta aise samachara paila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained for some days at Alalanath. In the meantime, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu received news that all the devotees from Bengal were coming to Jagannath Puri. Nityananda Sarvabhauma Agraha Karina Nilachale Aila Mahaprabhu Ke Laina. When the devotees from Bengal arrived at Jagannath Puri, both Nityananda Prabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya greatly endeavored to take Ch.Ch. Mahaprabhu back to Jagannath Puri. Virahe Vivala Prabhu na jane ratri dine hena kale aila gaudera bhakta gane. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finally left Alalanath to return to Jagannath Puri, he was overwhelmed both day and night due to separation from Jagannath. His lamentation knew no bounds. During this time, all the devotees from different parts of Bengal, and especially from Navadvipa, arrived in Jagannath Puri. Sabe mili yuktikari kirtana arambila, kirtana avese pravura manastira haila. After due consideration, all the devotees began chanting the holy name congregationally. Lord Chaitanya's mind was thus pacified by the ecstasy of the chanting. Being absolute, Lord Jagannath is identical in person, form, picture, kirtana, and all other circumstances. Therefore, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, he was pacified. Previously, he had been feeling very morose due to separation from Jagannath. The conclusion is that whenever a kirtan of pure devotees takes place, the Lord is immediately present. By chanting the holy names of the Lord, we associate with the Lord personally. Purvejave Prabhu Ramanandere Milila Nilachale Asivare Tanre Agna Dila. Previously, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had been touring South India, he had met Ramananda Rai on the banks of the Godavari. At that time, it had been decided that Ramananda Rai would resign from his post as a governor and return to Jagannath Puri to live with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Raja Anna Lanna Teho Aila Kata Dine Ratri Dine Krishna Kata Ramananda Sane. Upon the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Ramananda Rai took leave of the king and returned to Jagannath Puri. After he arrived, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very much enjoyed talking with him both day and night about Lord Krishna and his pastimes. Kasi Misra Kripe Prajumna Misrari Milana Paramananda Puri Govinda Kavis Varagramana. After Ramananda Rai's arrival, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestowed his mercy upon Kasi Misra and met Prajumna Misra. At that time, three personalities, Paramananda Puri, Govinda, and Kasisvara, came to see Lord Chaitanya at Jagannath Puri. Damodara Swarupa Milane Parama Ananda, Sikhi Mahiti Milana Raja Bhavananda. Eventually, there was a meeting with Swarup Damodar Goswami, and the Lord became very greatly pleased. Then there was a meeting with Sikhi Mahiti and with Bhavananda Rai, the father of Ramananda Rai. Gauda Haite Sarva Vaisnavera Agamana, Kulina Grama Vasi Sange Pratama Milana. All the devotees from Bengal gradually began arriving at Jagannath Puri. At this time, the residents of Kulinagrama also came to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the first time. Narahari Dasa Adi Jata Kandavasi Shivananda Sena Sange Milila Save Asi. Eventually, Narahari Dasa and other inhabitants of Kanda, along with Shivananda Sen, all arrived and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meet them. Snana Yatra Deki Prabhu Sange Bhaktagana Savalana Kaila Prabhu Gundicha Marjana. After seeing the bathing ceremony of Lord Jagannath, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu washed and cleaned Sri Gundicha temple with the assistance of many devotees. Savasange Rata Yatra Kaile Darasana Raha Rata Agre Nitya Kari Udyane Gamana. After this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the devotees saw the Ratra Yatra, the car festival ceremony. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself danced in front of the car, and after dancing he entered a garden. Prataparudrere kripa kailas